Well, this is my tow truck. I hope this works. I've always wanted one of these. Well, we had to do a little repair on the old excavator here. Blew another hydraulic line, which of course these things are loaded with hydraulic lines, so. And a lot of them on this machine, it wouldn't surprise me if they're the originals. They're at least painted white like they're original. Anyway, I was just going to show you which one it was here, if I can get up here. Oh, I got tools scattered everywhere and plates off, but it's this one right down in here. Let's see if y'all can see, yeah, what's running underneath that bracket right there. So that one running underneath that single bracket, I don't know what exactly it does. It runs off the main pump back here. Here's the other end of it there, tying in the shiny new one, not the dirty one to the right. So that's that one right there. So it runs off of there, and then it ties back over here on the side of this. I don't know what you call it. I'm a terrible mechanic, but I figured this stuff out and make it work. But I guess I just want to make this little video just again to kind of demonstrate. You look at a big machine like this and you think, man, it's so complicated. There's just stuff everywhere. But what's amazing, what's nice about it is you pull off a couple shields and a couple of doors and you can see it all. So, I mean, you open the hood here and took off this one shield here and this main bigger shield there. That gets you on top of everything as far as your hydraulics and your swing gear and all that, swing motor. And then, of course, you've got your doors on the side, too. So, back access door there. There's nothing here because that's hydraulic tank and diesel tank, but your back access door there opens right up to get to the other end of that hose. So yeah, I mean, other than just being in a generally tough spot for that hose in particular, the repair is super easy. I mean, you know, I was running the other night and I smelled hydraulic oil, which occasionally I'll smell hydraulic oil and then it goes away, so I didn't really think nothing of it. Well, then I spun around, I looked at the ground where I was digging, and I saw a big streak of oil, so it was like, oh shoot, you know. So I jumped out and I see it's leaking out of the belly pans. Well, I was working down there in kind of a bad spot, so I gambled and I got myself crawled up here on level ground out of that hole. I'm happy I did, because it made it a lot easier to work on. But I mean, then I just had to peek in here. Of course, these shields are on, but I just peeked in here behind the boom, and you can see it spraying. Simple as can be, you know. The hardest part that I had was finding the daggum fittings. I went to 3 different stores and called half a dozen or more, asking about this particular hydraulic fitting, asking if they had the fitting to be able to build me the hose, and it was like no one had it. I don't understand why. It's a 3/4 FLH. It's a long 90. So if you look how it mounts in here, I guess a short 90 probably would have worked. I probably can't see it in the dark down there. There it is. A short 90 probably would have worked. A lot of places had a shorter drop on the 90, but I just wasn't sure with it being, you know, tucked down in there with all those other hoses. I couldn't really remember when I took it off how much space there was. So I really didn't want to have somebody build me a hose with a short drop and then have it not fit. So I finally found a place. You can see here we had to do, they took a straight flange fitting and then they put a JIC onto that with a 90 to give me that extra extension to get the drop that I wanted. And then the other one on the other end over here is actually just a true 90. But it works. I don't like that I have the JIC in there because it's one more potential leak spot, but right now anyway it's holding. So let's hope that's the case. There was a couple other little blocks and brackets, so I had to take, again, of course I had to take that bracket off there, and there's a bracket right here going through the body that holds 3 hoses secured. I had to take that one loose. And that was kind of a booger to get in there. You can see where the bolts are at, which here it looks like they're easy to get to, and looking from the other side they are, but it's because I had to take off that little internal shield. So it's just a basic little shield to kind of isolate the engine from the hydraulic stuff. But yeah, anyway, I know I'm rambling, but again, I just want to make the video, I guess, say, you know, well, Rosie's back and running, Wilbur's back in action like a boss, got Rito over here for the assist to carry all my tools. But yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, rant a little bit or talk about, you know, again, why I actually prefer big equipment like this versus, you know, working on cars and trucks, because everything is just so accessible. You're not having to worry about everything being crammed in a tiny little hood space. It's all just big and right there in front of you. So anyway, blew a hose, had it fixed. Let's see, I blew it Thursday night and it's now Saturday morning. I had the new hose yesterday afternoon, Friday afternoon, but I just wasn't feeling good, so I put it off. And yeah, anyway, got it back on this morning. Just got to fill back up with oil, function tested everything, no drips or leaks that I can see. So we are back in business. Well, I was bragging about how easy this hydraulic hose repair was the other day, and of course that came back to haunt me. And the thing that I said concerned me that I didn't like was this double fitting, and I think that what came back to haunt me. So sorry, I just got a text message. So anyway, I got it all put back together the other day, been 2 weeks ago now, fired it up, and it was still leaking like crazy. I don't think it was leaking out of the flange. I believe it was leaking out of this fitting. Now that was probably my fault, because I installed the flange, and then I tried to torque this up, which was just me being ignorant. I don't know why. And maybe it might have worked. I really don't know. Because of where it was at, it was hard to really see. I couldn't see it leaking when I'm running the machine. I didn't have somebody with me to help run the machine while I looked to see it spray. But we pulled it all out of there today. This was basically hand loose. I had to put wrenches on it, but that was it. Like, I didn't have to really even fight, just broke it loose. So now I've put it back together. I put this wrench on as a backup and put this little service wrench here on it and actually hammered it to tighten it up. I've also cleaned this O-ring really, really well to make sure there's nothing on it. And I've cleaned the flat face where that O-ring installs. There was a lot of little flecks of paint and stuff like that, so I cleaned all that up, scraped it off, wiped it up. So now we're going to try to get it put back in here and see what happens. Well. Done it again. Got her stuck. And not as bad as it might look, but just in a really scary, precarious sort of position here that I'm reluctant to try to battle it out on my own. I tried briefly, but was not making any good progress, so I quit, at least until I could just calm down and think about it a little bit. But what happened is there's a hole out here, obviously, one that I dug, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and since then it has completely filled in with silt, and I lost track of it. I forgot that it was out here. So you can see the right side track is still up on, you know, pseudo solid ground, but the left side is of course down. If I even take any weight off the bucket right now, it just immediately goes down. And I felt like, I mean, looking at it, it's not nearly as steep, but sitting in the seat, it feels like the whole thing's going to flip over. So I've got a winch truck on the way, and we're just going to hook on. Luckily, the towing eye here is facing out at us. The plan is to hook on there just to give that little bit of extra assist, and then try to push out with the bucket while I can. The problem is I've got solid ground right up to here to the front of this track. So see, this is solid right here. And so when I try to drive against it, that track just hits that wall of mud and can't get up on top of it. It just spins and slips and can't get on top of it. So ideally, like I said, I can get in there, pick that side up, and then start driving back out and pushing with the boom at the same time. Like I said, with the help of some assist. So I was trying to get back down here in the bottom of the pond. Again, this is all plenty solid, no problem. Drive right down in on it. And I was trying to work on cutting a shelf up there so that I could start to get up top and expand the pond further out. I'm just trying to give myself some options here. And I had just decided, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to back up and I'm going to, you know, slide this mud off with the bucket, and I'm going to start trying to dig some dry clay. And that's when it went down. So unfortunately, I goofed off down here for, I don't know, 10 minutes, playing in the mud and slopping around, and then down it went. So anyway, embarrassing to say the least, but you know what? this is the second time in 4 years of owning this machine that I've planted it. And given the grounds that I work in, as far as just swampy, nasty, risky stuff, I don't really feel that bad. I mean, it's a kick in the gut. It's a kick in the wallet, no doubt about it. Big black mark on my pride, obviously. But we're going to get it out of here. Hopefully this evening, hopefully no problem. Last time I got it stuck, the guy showed up, pulled me out in less than 30 minutes. I hope that's the case again, although he'll probably still rake me over the coals and charge me a whole bunch. I think mostly he does it just to punish me for being a fool and getting it stuck like I do sometimes. So anyway, we shall see, but just figured I'd make this little video of the mess that it is before the release shows up. They're supposed to be on their way. They think they can hook on with a winch truck, so I guess they're going to park a winch truck over here somewhere and try to run cables out to it. That's their plan. So I've got to get these hoses out of the way and try to get things just organized and ready so when they show up we can go right to work. Man, I should have got more video of that thing. That is a cool truck. But hey, we got it out. I'll make a little summary tomorrow, but it was as easy as I expected. Unfortunately, it's a very expensive lesson learned.